I believe in grandparents. I don't mean that I believe that grandparents are a thing, because everyone in the world has grandparents whether they like it or not. But rather, I will be talking about the love and lessons that come with the quality time spent with them. Grandparents have been one of your biggest supporters since before you were even born. Now, I know that not everyone has a good relationship with their grandparents, or they maybe never even had the chance to meet them in the first place. But I truly believe in grandparents and how they have a very positive impact on their grandchildren. Grandparents hold us in a special place in their heart. They cherish many of the moments that we overlook. I know it's cliche, but grandparents were there before we could remember. They have baby pictures of us scattered through their homes. They babysat while our parents were at work, or maybe they took us to practice when our parents couldn't. Maybe you were at a family get-together and you didn't get your way with your parents, so you threw a fit. Who would you run to? For me, it was always my grandma, because I watched as she would show love and compassion toward my sister growing up, so I followed in her footsteps. This was Grandma Sprinkle. She was an old, wrinkly, fat lady who had nothing but love and joy to share. And that's about all I can remember about her, because when I was 7, she passed away. My sister, who was 16 at the time, really took it the hardest. She's only my half-sister, who isn't in contact with her other grandparents. So this really was the only grandma that she had at the time. It wasn't long until my grandparents on my mom's side of the family stepped up and made her feel welcome and like their own. This is one of the many reasons I strongly believe in grandparents. And it's because they took my sister in, who had no blood relation to them at all, and made her feel like one of their own grandchildren. And I know that that helped her during this hard time. When I was 7, I couldn't really grasp the idea of death, and to be honest, I still really don't understand it. But as I am growing up, I started to comprehend it, and I have come to the realization that our grandparents will not always be there for us. For all of my life, I haven't been able to remember a time without my grandparents on my mom's side, Mimi and Papa. I can still remember one day in the summer, I was spending the day with them, and Papa wasn't there for some reason, so it was just Mimi and myself. I wasn't 10 years old at the time, but I had the great idea to make a slip and slide in the backyard on the blazing summer day that it was. Now I know all of you are thinking, okay, so you made a slip and slide and had a little fun. Which yes, that did indeed happen, but the crazy thing is, Mimi did too. Even being 70 years old at the time, she was right there with me, slipping and sliding across the wet tarp. Now memories like these can slip out of our minds very easily because they happened so long ago. But even though this happened close to 10 years ago, Mimi still asks me today if I remember it, and she tells me how much fun she had then. Grandparents cherish just about every moment they spend with you, whether you remember it or not. Now, if you were to ask Grandpa Sprinkle how he's doing today, he would respond with, "Oh, I'm all right, still fat and sassy, and even though he's just a mean old man, every time I show him a picture of a fish that I caught or bring by the latest buck that I shot, his face just glows with happiness. He tells me how proud he is of me, and then he makes a funny comment to my dad along the lines of, 'He's always beating you,' referring to me, and this always makes me laugh." Grandpa Sprinkle is just another reason for me to believe in grandparents, because even though he lost his wife 10 plus years ago, he's been alone ever since. He still shows an ample amount of love and compassion towards his grandchildren. Just earlier this year, we found out that Papa was diagnosed with the beginning effects of Alzheimer's. This caused a surge of sadness amongst the family. Since then, Papa has been to just about every home game and even a lot of the away games that I've played. He hasn't missed a holiday, a birthday, or even a prom since the news. Even though he has learned of this terrible news, it hasn't changed him or his ways of coming to see and support his grandchildren. And this is why I believe in grandparents. My grandparents, from what I can remember, have always supported me and brought me joy in some of the darkest times. So whether you are close or not with your grandparents, just know they'll always love you and support you in just about every part of your life.